All right, cool. So yeah, I think about a week ago, Brian emailed me telling me about how awesome his progress has been. I asked him to join this call and record a video for me. So yeah, Brian, why don't you give us a quick summary of your background and tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah, no, happy to do so. So I started in funeral service probably about 12 years ago. I was managing restaurants, wanted to do something different, and this is certainly different. So
Yeah,
I started with SCI. So I worked for corporate-owned funeral homes, went to mortuary school, got my license, got a promotion or two, was managing a couple funeral homes for them. But I really wanted to be an owner. And that was the one thing SCI couldn't give me, even though I liked working for them. So I found a family-owned funeral home and kind of worked out with the owner to take over when he retired, and then he passed away suddenly about 10 months after I started. So that plan got sped up, and then I've been the owner of Wallin-Stucky Funeral Home here on Whidbey Island since 2018. And since then, we've gone from two funeral directors, one location, 160 families, to I think 340 families last year, two
wow.
location directors. So it's been quite a bit of growth
Yeah,
lately.
yeah. Okay, awesome. And if you can think back, before signing up with Parting Pro, do you remember what kind of problems you were trying to solve?
Yeah, I mean, before starting with Pilot Pro, I'm on an island, so I have limited competition, but I do have some competition. And my main competitor, they're kind of like a hybrid storefront. We're a full service funeral home, like you'd think, with a viewing rooms, chapel, crematory. I mean, we're a big building, so our overhead is a lot more. So our competitor is kind of like a hybrid storefront, and they charge less than us, and they started advertising that price on their website.
Yeah,
And once they started advertising that price on their website, I saw our numbers start to go down.
yeah.
We had main dogs on the island. I mean, they did about 50% of what you did. And I saw it going to, okay, 55%, 60%. After about 2 years of watching them, it was to the point where they're doing almost 70% of what we were doing. So I was trying to kind of just maintain my market share and bring the trend back in the right direction.
Gotcha. And what would you say the impact of working with us has been?
Oh, it's definitely been phenomenal. I was skeptical. I mean, I think you and I spoke probably 2 or 3 years ago, and
Yeah,
I said it was kind of a okay, it's good, but not for me, not now. Um, Probably a mistake in retrospect, but I've caught up. But I mean, look, in the last year, I've had Party Pro for about a year.
yeah.
Um, I've been up 32% in profit and 21% in case volume. And I'm not going to say that's all Parting Pro, but that's really the only major change I've made in the last year. So, I have to at least attribute a good portion of that to Parting Pro.
Yeah. Okay. So 32% profit, 21% case volume.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's a jump. I mean, sometimes, you might get a weird year at a funeral home where you'll gain 10% and then it's back to normal. 21%, that's more than just a coincidence. So,
yeah, definitely. And you mentioned you're skeptical. Like, what were you skeptical about?
yeah, well, I had a few concerns. The first thing was cannibalizing my cremation rate as far as dollar average goes.
Right.
I know other full service funeral homes have kind of done something where they would have a separate website where they would charge like half the cost to do it all online. And internally, I had a hard time rationalizing that.
Yeah.
Same staff, it's the same crematory. I couldn't justify that big of a jump. So I got to where it's a little less of a price point, and I can kind of justify that because it's online only. I don't have to reserve a room. I don't have to receive a funeral director. And because it's close enough to my quote unquote regular cost of when people come in, that really hasn't been an issue. In fact, I like how Party Pro makes them click through yes, no boxes based on what I specify.
Yeah.
So, like witness cremation, me and my funeral directors don't always ask, do you want to witness the cremation? But Party Pro, you have to click yes or no. And I'm surprised how many people click yes. And I mean, we charge an additional fee for that. So it's close to the same cost.
Yeah.
I was also worried about people seeing one price online and then coming in person and kind of asking for that price.
Yeah.
Hey, you charge this on your website, but I come and meet with you. Why aren't you charging the same thing? It's really only happened once. And I just honored the lower price. So it happened like I thought. And then my last thing was probably paperwork. I mean, with cremation, I mean, we're very serious about having the correct signatures for cremation. And if I'm never meeting the person, how do I know that that's them signing the cremation authorization? But through getting their ID, through having conversations, you still have to talk to them on the phone. You still have to make sure, if the daughter does the paperwork, you still got to make sure they're not married. And if they are, send the cremation authorization to that person, at least in our. But I haven't had any issues or any family members come out of the woodworking, paperwork was done incorrectly or anything like that. So those are my main concerns as far as Parting Pro goes. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. That's helpful. So it sounds like everything's going really well. Yeah. And I think for you talked to us in 2019, you ended up signing up with us in 2021. You grew your volume by 20%, 21%, and then grew profit by 30+% in the last year. So if someone's listening to you right now, maybe they're kind of where you were at in 2019, and they're kind of on the fence and kind of thinking about like, what would you tell them right now?
Yeah, and I mean, I think my situation is unique, but I think every funeral director thinks his situation is unique. So
Yeah.
Really not. Like I said, we're on an island. I mean, the thrust of it is my concern was being a full service funeral home.
Yeah.
Going to tarnish my image. Am I going to be giving away the farm? Like I said, I'm not half the cost. It's just a couple $100 less to do it online.
Yeah.
So for those that are skeptical or like wondering, is this for me? I mean, I would say do it because the dynamics and the culture of what we do is changing. I mean, I look at buying a car. I've gotten to the point where I don't want to go to the car lot. I don't want to talk to somebody and haggle with them and go through. I just want to order online and have it show up at my door. And I am a millennial, but more of us are getting into the workforce, and the old school guard, they're retiring or passing on, and we can either change with the times to accommodate a much bigger amount of families and what they want, or we can dig in our heels and say, you know what, we're not going to do the online thing. We're going to say we're traditional. You've got to come in. You've got to meet with us. And we might be able to get away with that for a little bit longer, but it's getting to the point where if you don't do it, your competitor will. And when you start to lose your market share, it's hard to get that back. So now it is definitely a good thing. You don't want to wait on this.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for that. Yeah, I totally agree. I do think change is coming, and you don't get with it, you get left behind. So
and that was too. I mean, I was thinking, okay, I felt like I was kind of taking the funeral director out of it. I mean, you're getting to the point where, I mean, we're in Washington State, so I'm % direct cremation. I mean, this isn't Kentucky or Tennessee or something like that. So we're already getting to direct cremation pretty high.
Yeah.
And I was just worried, okay, am I devaluing myself as a funeral director?
Yeah.
I admit people's values are changing. I mean, some people want their hand held and they want you to be with them every step of the way. Some people say, you know what, I don't want to deal with that. I want to take care of paperwork at 3 a.m. My husband's dying at 3 a.m. I want to do something tangible at 3 a.m. And when they start doing that paperwork at 3 a.m., it kind of locks them in. They've already done some work without me. And I would rather get the family through that than not get them at all.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think a lot of people are concerned with, taking themselves out of the equation. I hear that a lot, but it's also like, if someone wants to do something online, what are you doing right now? Like, what kind of hoops are they jumping through just to work with you online, right? Yeah.
I mean, we were doing the whole thing, which I'm sure we're not unique. And okay, I would type up the paperwork, I would email the paperwork, they would print it, they would sign it, they would scan it, they would email it back. I know some people have done DocuSign. I've never done that, but it was just hassle. And we think about people who are elderly and maybe they have a hard time with Parting Pro. They're gonna have a whole lot harder time with me emailing paperwork, them signing it, them scanning it, them email it back. I mean, that's a whole lot harder than me just sending click here and click here. Yeah. The idea that we're serving people, who are 80 or 90, maybe their love, maybe they're married, their loved one's 80 or 90. Most of them are online. I mean, we can't use the, just younger people online. It's just not true. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Bryan. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for reaching out and letting us know how things have been going for you. Like, really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having a great product. And if any ever going to help in the future, let me know and keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.